know I've waited for this. It makes my whole life worthwhile. After you've chewed over this one for a while, look for two more. Adios, amigos. See you in court.
He drives, Robin by his side. He climbs, guest stars say goodbye. Go west, old chum. Go west, old chum.
Okay. So this is new for episode 1 of our new program. Your normal host, ED, he is out with, when I was a kid, I would watch a lot of Bozo on WGN, and they'd have this clown Cookie or Bozo or something, and they'd probably have some kind of terrible life-murdering disease, and they would just say they're out for the cold. Oh, Cookie has the laughs. Which reminds me of WGN being a superstation. If part of the allure of Michael Jordan isn't just that he was on television all the time, all across the world, when nowadays it's like you don't see every LeBron James game, but we saw like every Michael Jordan game. Because you could just flip to a channel that was like all Michael Jordan games, or all, who's the other guy like that? It was Dominique Wilkins. You could just watch any Dominique Wilkins you wanted. The days when it was just TBS and WGN. Alright, so we're going to start a new show. Well, ED is on hiatus. Hopefully not too extended. I've been having a few beers and cosmopolitans, and I've been given the keys to the what have you, and so I am now making a show about what I love, Adam West. So we'll start now with episode 1 of Batman. I'm just gonna watch it. Maybe used to research on the Eric Roberts show, where we know background. On this show, there'll be none. We got, wait. To the Gotham City World's Fair. It's the first setting. I like seeing these people. This is definitely the time of like Get Smart, I Spy. I don't know, do we even think this is stock footage, or do we think they paid for someone to do this? So they're at the World's Fair. Let's investigate this. This is probably in Los Angeles. Yeah, we got Chinatown. Republic of Moldova. Moldavian Fiesta Week. Who is this guy who is playing the Moldavian president? I'd like to know that. Or ambassador. Yeah, I better pull up an IMDb of Batman just to know all the key things. I'm disappointed that this Batman is only the 7th Batman that you can be watching. Alright, so 7th up on your IMDb is Batman, created by Lorenzo Simple Jr. and William Tozer. Alright, let's look up episode 1, see how long it takes me to do this. If there's any doubt that who produces this program, it's not me. I'll tell you that goddamn much. I hope never to meet this sorry son of a bitch who does. Let's see here. So what's our, Hi Diddle Diddle. Episode 1, Hi Diddle Diddle. We don't know that yet, do we? That's a real spoiler. William Dozier, he narrates the show. And he becomes like kind of the classic voice of comic books and superheroes, right? And the uncredited voice on the Batman show, William Dozier, is probably one of the best parts of the program, if not the best part. Infamy of infamies! So let's investigate who in episode 1 was in fact this guy. We're gonna have Jill St. John and Frank Gorshin. We're going to have Alan Napier as Alfred. These will be our first introductions to all these people. Jill St. John plays Molly. She will not be in that many episodes, I don't think. Well, we'll see. Oh, Ben Astar is the Moldavian president. He died in 1988, born in 1909. His last credit was on a Casablanca TV show. They made a TV show of Casablanca? Boy. Yeah, with David Soul as Rick, Hector Elizondo as Captain Liminal. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Whoa, Ray Liotta was on it. Who else was on in the classic? Well, looks like that was about it. What's the girl's name? Ilsa or something in that show? It is one of the most classic romances that we remember. Sam. He was, of course, Scatman Carruthers. Who else would get that role in that day? You'd have to be bringing in, like, Doc from Love Boat or some shit. He probably couldn't get it because Scatman Carruthers, it was too high profile. Who else do we have in this episode? What's the main girl? I thought the girl's name is like Ilsa or something, right? What kind of Casablanca show is it where, I guess the girl's name is Inez? What? It's like a Casablanca show where where the main lady that Ingrid Bergman played in the original isn't one of like the top credits of the show. What the fuck? Yeah, let's look up the original Casablanca. Casablanca, IMDb. Man, we've really gone down already. Just wondering what the fuck is up with this guy who plays the Moravian president, ambassador. Yeah, her name is Ilsa. I had it right from the start. I don't even think she's a character in this new Casablanca. What? Boy, what a smart idea to make a show of Casablanca and not put Ilsa in it. I think that was their big twist. Boy, that's smart. I'll have to really watch that classic love story where they left out the lady. It's kind of like this show you're listening to now, right? It's like you got E.D. and me and no lady. Back to, this guy was in Blade Runner, uncredited. One of my all-time top movies. I just wanted to read that book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Thought it was pretty good, kind of weird. A lot of stuff about mercerism, getting stones thrown. Yeah, I'm not sure if I understood the science behind some of their empathy box is. All right, so now he's bringing out this cake, Moldavian friendship cake, which isn't that big. Oh my gosh. Do we have a stuntman, or I think that we may have, I'd like to really, no, maybe not. Maybe they really made this guy do this. Now, one thing it is for sure is that we have a Commissioner Gordon who is much, much thinner. No, wait. This guy that plays Commissioner Gordon, he always strikes me as like, remember that guy, what's that, Huckabee? Like Huckabee, where it's like you'd see him from the front and he would look like he was one weight, then you would see him from the side and he looks like he weighs like 1 trillion pounds more. Neil Hamilton. Oh man, so then now they have to call the friendship cake exploded and the Moldavian thing. Wait, let's go back here. Oh wait, why has this been changed? We've got the Moldavian what have you. No, let's examine. I think we've also just met so many key figures of this show. We've got a lot of I think we should investigate every moment of the old Batman show is so gleeful. It's so crazy. Like, I mean, you just can't, like right now we've got them wheeling out these guys, and they've got the Moldavian. Somebody had to make this guy who made these cakes for the Moldavian Prime Minister and the Moldavian icon on this thing that's shaking hands with the Moldavian mascot. They had to think of so many things. They've got a Moldavian guy, he wears a beret. It seems like they always have a friendship cake, and it's gonna shake hands with Uncle Sam. And looks like they're a turban wearing people, even though that it doesn't seem to be the kind of hat that the guy is wearing on the Moldavian cake. Maybe it isn't a beret, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like a turban to me either. No, sir. No, what, a sailor cap? I think it's a beret, but they seem to be a turban-wearing people. Some kind of very turban-y. Maybe the Moldavian people. Here's what I like to think is the Moldavian people. They chose this beret as sort of a neutral thing that, like extremists and leftists have who are extremists the other way, you know, they right and left wing. They could kind of like everybody. No matter who's in power, we'll be happy with this Moldavian guy. And then we have our first riddle, because the friendship cake exploded, of course, at the Moldavian setup at the Gotham's World's Fair. And it says, why is an orange like a bell? So, if you know anything about good riddles, the friendship cake explodes. How does the riddle come to them? It comes in on a parachute. Something from the sky parachutes in. No one thinks about, let's go to who rents out planes? Who bought this advertising? Who are aviators in town? Buyers of things. No, Inspector Bash. Oh, this is Chief O'Hara, played by Stafford Rep. Any of you think you can handle him? No. Look at these guys. They all just look at the ground when the commissioner asks them if he can handle this riddle. I already forgot what the riddle fucking was. I'm not much help. Inspector Bash. Reminds me of my favorite show, Bosch. Why is an orange? It was something. I'm going to have to rewind this and learn. You know what this means? It's the Riddler. They've at least figured out who the criminal is. Why is an orange like a bell? Well, I would have to say it has something to do with a peel. Yeah, look at these guys. Bash. They all look at the ground. We established that. Then he looks to one answer that doesn't look at the ground. A red phone under a glass. And Commissioner Gordon lifts that glass. Only one button on that phone. The red phone lights up. And a man named Alfred, who we don't know his name yet, but he's played by Alan Napier, who is, let's find out a little bit about our buddy Alan Napier. This will be our first Profiles in Westing. Alan Napier was born in 1903 in Worcester, England, so he really is a limey bastard. You know, he was the cousin of Neville Chamberlain, according to this. You know, they really have to tell us how much this guy did. He was in Marnie with Sean Connery. Adam West likes to lie and pretend he was offered James Bond at some point. At best, that would probably be some kind of terrible contract negotiation with what's his face? Sean Bean. No, Sean Connery. I gotta go pee. So we find out this guy Alan Napier plays is not in charge of the situation. Commissioner needs to say, we're in luck. He's at home. We're in lucky, according to these subtitles. He's at home. And then we see this guy, this dashing guy, Adam West, who he was on many a fine program, playing even John Doc Holliday and others on television programs in its day. He's a handsome guy with a deep voice. Look at him all fit here, cutting a dashing figure in this like well-tailored suit. This is some prime, like, you can see exactly what they were going for here. Sean Connery. He looks exactly like Sean Connery. No, he doesn't. Why? He's better looking. Yeah, this guy, so now we need our first, like, crazy thing here of what? Okay, so we got this guy, Bruce Wayne. We don't know that yet. Or we just know we're in a mansion. Okay, so now we know about Mr. Wayne. The resources are behind him. He's funding an anti-crime center, meeting with some people from the town, and he gets called away, and he says, what I like about this is that, look at this cool tie he has. It's pretty fucking nice. And then you say, like, a solid tie, light colored, kind of a teal tie on a white shirt. This is, if you ever watch this episode, this first suit they put Bruce Wayne in is pretty fucking nice. Because he's got it all matches so well. Only those jokers on Monday to Fell Countdown at Kirk Herbstreit could dress as well as Bruce Wayne here. Boy, I'm not much of a fan of vests, I'll be honest, but they're trying to sell. Now we get introduced to his ward, Dick Grayson, who's played by Burt Ward, which is one of the best, is that he's a ward, and he's played by Ward. And Burt Ward is in shape in this, like, thin, sprightly youth who we would believe could be do any of the acrobatics. Almost seems like he's on drugs, because he's got, like, sunken eyes. The sunken eyes of Burt Ward. And he's got the head of, I guess this would be Shakespeare. He lifts it up. Is this a bust of Shakespeare? And the head lifts off this bust on his desk. He runs off to with his teen ward, Dick Grayson, played by Burt Ward. So then on the desk, they have a bust of William Shakespeare, and they lift off the top. Well, they hang up the phone, then they lift off the top. This is one of my favorite things here, is that I've seen this before, I won't lie to you. They have a wallpapered wall here and a bookcase that slides away. The bookcase looks like it has many a book in it that look very real, and the bookcase itself looks very real. But behind it, we see two poles. And the poles are labeled Dick and Bruce, so they don't, so that Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne know which pole is theirs, and they do not get confused and get the wrong pole. Also, here we get one of my other favorite things, is that the background says access to Batcave via bat poles. So if anyone is confused as to where the fuck they're going. But see, this is what I was wondering, is this supposed to be funny? This is like you don't know on what level this was just supposed to be for adults or for kids, which I guess is because it's like, if it's for adults, it's not that great, except for it's entertaining me. But they're kids. Yeah, they're just on what level you're supposed to be interfacing with this program. It's very strange. So we go through, so they ride down to the Bat Pole Bat Cave. The bookcase closes on them, and we go to our first credits ever with the classic Herbie Hancock jazz, 60s jazz, hot jazz, California sound. Yeah, it's very interesting. This show is very California in a show that's about Gotham, and you think about it as being very New York. But this show, I guess what makes it so strange, in addition to how it is always contrary-wise to how it's supposed to interface with the public, is that it also has it's supposed to be New York, but it's clearly Los Angeles, and they just embrace it being Los Angeles in a crazy way. Like, you got this crazy sounds seem more to do with surfing and jazz, surf jazz. Why, we can almost imagine that Batmobile as a surfboard, couldn't we? When we hear the Batman theme. William Dozier, the great narrator, is getting his credit last before the commercial break. Now we're back. It was our first view of the Batmobile. We'll see which is truly awesome. They have it at the William Peterson, the William L. Peterson Car Museum here in Los Angeles, which I believe is actually the Peterson Car Museum. You can see this Batmobile, and it is pretty friggin' sweet. Okay, so now we also get our first view of the Bat Cave, which also seems pretty friggin' sweet. You can see they spent some dough on this set, and then they've got the emergency bat turn lever label. I like the willy-nilly of what needed labeling and what didn't. That's probably, I think that's something that they kind of maybe abandon as the show goes on. Let's see. We should always point out these great labels, though. Emergency bat turn lever. I will also point out that except for being Los Angeles, we are yet to see any kind of product placement within the first 5 minutes of this. Gotham 1966 license plate. That would be sick to have, right? On your ride. Then they come out of this cave here. You can walk through the Bat Cave, of course, here in California. Gotham City is 14 miles. So Bat Cave shoots you out somewhere 14 miles away from Gotham City. And we got special guest stars. So this is where we find out Hi Diddle Diddle. Not much narrating so far. Hi Diddle Diddle. Yeah, I don't know if we've even heard the immortal voice of William Dozier yet as the narrator. Jill St. John is Molly. Frank Gorshin is the Riddler. Written by Lorenzo Simple Jr. Directed by Robert Butler. We've got the Gotham Police Headquarters. They had to make so much for this show, you wonder. Answer, because they most... So we get the answer to... our first riddle. You have to peel an orange and you have to peel a bell. And Chief O'Hara wonders why they couldn't work that out. So they think this first riddle, they say the riddle contrives this Riddler, which we should point out was not a popular Batman villain. He was a very minor member of the Rogues Gallery. This show popularized him. Now the Riddler will be in a new Batman movie played by some guy, probably Paul Dano or somebody, or Nicholas Hoult, somebody more of the Jim Carrey or Frank Gorshin vibe. Yeah, Jim Carrey was a very interesting choice to follow in the footsteps of Frank Gorshin, because they're both impressionists, and I would imagine that Jim Carrey was probably inspired by Frank Gorshin in many ways as a young man, I wonder. So they say, that like the Riddler, he's much as a artichoke, and there are riddles within riddles to get you the sweet, sweet nectar of his, like the exploding cake was a ruse, and to get Batman called in. So he realizes, Batman does, that the Riddler needs artistically to bring Batman into him, because the Riddler is an artist. And also, guess what? They have a Peel art gallery in town. Well, and the Riddler likes to steal things. One of them might be art. And the Riddler's meat to his artichoke, as Chief O'Hara puts it, is probably, but Batman says no, it's going to be a trap. So Batman better go walk into this trap. Now we get some wonderful, looks like some kind of downtown Beverly Hills or some shit. What do we think this is? It's probably a backlot. Some producer, William Dozier's house. So they go to the Peel Gallery, just Batman and Robin, because they think it's a trap. And I don't know why. Who else? Maybe they should have sent some deputies instead of them, if it was a trap for them. But the Riddler has set up, so the Riddler has left a phone there for them, and it's a recording. There's a call to the Bat phone. Oh, so the Riddler left them a phone call, right? So he's watching them from somewhere, surveilling them. He knows when they're there. This reminds me of that scene in Heat, where Al Pacino realizes that he and his gang of cops are getting their photographs taken by Robert De Niro and his gang of master thieves. The surveillers are becoming the surveilled. The hunter has become the riddled. And so this call is a recording, and the Riddler is laughing at Batman, and he says, "Before you trip over your cape, Batman, riddle me this. There are 3 men in a boat with 4 cigarettes and no matches." All right, so we have our riddle here. And we also get our first taste of Frank Gorshin, I think. I don't think we've heard him before this on the show, and he is giving a performance that, boy, it kind of like starts, he really sets the tone here in this pilot for what's expected of these actors. He reaches for, I think he tears the rafters down and spits on them and blows them up. He's just amazing. Okay, so he's really marvelous. It seems like he's on some kind of like they would say that Al Pacino's character had a coke problem in Heat. Boy, this Riddler, he's got some kind of problem, I'll tell you that. How do they manage to smoke with 4 cigarettes and no matches? It's one of the boats is a lighter. Let's go up and ask the Riddler. So they think they can go find the Riddler if they use the bat ring. So they know they're being surveilled, which makes a lot of sense. Now this is our first scene, perhaps, of them climbing. Yeah, this is their first scene of them when they scale this wall. This is the first time we get to see Batman and Robin climb something, which is one of the best parts of the program. Then the Riddler, he hangs out with this guy. I like the Riddler. So now they find the Riddler. So the Riddler he was trying to trap him here. So when they're climbing the thing here, we get some good interchange. Like Robin's like, "Why can't I get this?" Riddle, and Batman says, "Maybe it's because you have your mind on that pretty little teenage girl who waved to you on the way across town. Now we should put this first off." And then Burt Ward, he doesn't like that playful chumming. He laughs at it. Then we got the Riddler is in the Peel Gallery robbing the place, which is pretty much what he told Batman he was going to do. So he says, caught him red-handed. So what was the trap? It's like, if we go to the Peel Gallery, well, Batman must have forgotten all about it being a trap or a trick. It's like the Riddler sent us here as a trick and is robbing the place right now upstairs. Doesn't seem like much of a trick at all. Now Batman tries to, or takes off this grating from a window. Oh, we got more safety lessons. Because Dick Grayson's just going to drop the grating down on the street, and Batman tells Dick Grayson to be careful. Watch out for pedestrians before he tells him to watch it, chum. Alright, so we got a bat suction cup. So see, Batman is much more responsible. So he suction cups the wall. He takes a suction cup from his utility belt. Section is the call, and they put this, so they hang the grating there. Then Batman and Robin, they burst through the window of the Peel Gallery, scattering glass shards everywhere. This is a very fancy gallery inside. They've got a lot of friggin' art, like more than most places. I'll tell you that. It's got to be worth trillions. Let's examine some of this art. It looks fancy. It looks kind of old-timey. And you got a suit of armor. Some kind of clock. And you got a Riddler has a really cool suit here with a lot of and then he's got jewels. He's got rhinestones, he's got green shoes, question marks all over his clothes. Oh, it turns out Batman's fucked up huge. He wasn't stealing the cross. It was the Riddler's cross all along that was being leaned. So it looked like the Riddler was robbing this guy, this Peel man. Then it turned out his gun was just a lighter, which explains that other, one of the boats was a lighter. They don't have any matches. One of them brought a lighter. They had a lighter. Then the Riddler, his gun is a lighter, much like in the riddle. It all makes sense now. If you think about Batman and James Bond here, the connection is he had his buddy Felix Leiter, and much less Felix Leiter was Batman's faithful chum, or rather James Bond's faithful chum. Here, Burt Ward gets the lighter thing first as being Adam West's faithful chum. 3 men in a boat, 4 cigarettes, no matches. How do they manage to smoke? Never mind. They made this boat a cigarette lighter. He was giving him a light, out-riddled. And so that Frank Gorshin has brought witnesses with cameras to catch Batman as being such a fool. And also, he's made it so that Frank Gorshin, look at how ghostly white Frank Gorshin's face is. He's got green eyes, which blend in with the Riddler's things. I wonder if that was, the Riddler was always green in the comic books, or if it was maybe meant to match this. The eyes of Frank Gorshin, they're very green. And Frank Gorshin's name starts with G, like the letter green. And yeah, he looks very, very pale for a man in Los Angeles. Maybe like a guy who's been doing a lot of drugs, which I like. Kind of a Richard Widmark quality to Frank Gorshin. Did he ever do a Richard Widmark impression? A lot of these line deliveries from Frank Gorshin are the best. See you in court? At this point, your buddy, what's the guy, is Batman. He's taken Batman up to the hills. No, he's going to sue. The Riddler is going to sue Batman. The Riddler is suing Batman now. $1 million lawsuit filed against him. Assault, slander, false arrest. So after, we saw how conscientious Batman really was trying to hang that grating. Here we find out that now he's actually through his destroyed people's property, which he was also destroying somebody's property by messing up that grating. But I guess, like Bruce Wayne has money. He probably is the Peel Gallery's prime contributor. He's their benefactor of the Peel. Yeah, it's feared that the Caped Crusader in his youthful age will no longer be able to combat crime in Gotham City. And so Adam West, he goes through his law books, and he's got no leg on which to stand. So for some reason, he has to come up with the money. Oh yeah, he has to show up in court. So Batman has to be, he won't no longer be a masked vigilante if he has to defend himself in the courts. It really is a pretty good riddle, hi diddle diddle. And Alfred is really upset because if Mrs. Cooper finds out what Master Dick's been up to on these supposed fishing trips, she will not be pleased. He doesn't seem like a guy. If you look at Burt Ward, it does seem like he's not sleeping at night. He's been out all night fighting crimes. Alright, so they're getting new riddles. Let's see here. Is this recording? Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna get some so the Riddler told them when they chewed over this riddle to look over 2 more riddles. So they're gonna find a secret writing on this document. This reminds me of classic Sherlock Holmes, which reminds me of The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, which I think it was The Name of the Rose was maybe written after this episode of Batman, which makes me think he ripped off Batman. And later on, Adam West was played by Sean Connery in the movie The Name of the Rose, and Burt Ward was played by Christian Slater, who was the faithful chum of Sean Connery in that movie. Like a lot of people like to find homoerotic subtext in the Batman show, but that was just homoerotic like subtext was much more obviously supposed to be there in Name of the Rose, but not between the 2 leads. It was supposed to be, they were, William of Baskerville, the hero of The Name of the Rose, was to be above fleshly concerns. Alright, so this may be our first view of Jill St. John. Interesting. She's the scary, some of these, the crew of the Riddler that hang out with Jill St. John here are very scary. Who's this guy here is scary as hell. We'll find out who this guy was pretty damn quickly, I assure you that. Alan Jaffe as Harry. This guy Alan Jaffe, he's got a real face. He's from Los Angeles, and he died in 1989 at age 60. Yeah, he's got one of those anvil faces, this guy. Let's see how he got into acting here. Let's see here, he was in a lot of westerns. You might imagine of a man of that time, much like Adam West. Yeah, lots of TV. Let's see if Man from U.N.C.L.E., another show like this, Wild Wild West, zany mid to late 1960s in America. He was on the show Lancer, I think was in production in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And let's see, he was on Mission Impossible here, Love American Style. Not the movie Mission Impossible, the television show, which you might... Yeah, just like, I guess one of his last big roles was in the film Papillon as a guard. In some kind of movie here called Dazed. Or no, it's called Nicole, an isolated widow who lives alone in her mansion, leads a decadent and lustful life, using her sexy body and her vast fortune to manipulate those around her. She is obsessed with controlling all the people in her life. Well, that sounds pretty good. Let's see if there are other this has to buy it. Yeah. Amazon wants you to pay $1 for it. I will not. I'll bet you can maybe find that on what is the YouTube? Can we find the movie Nicole 1975? Alright, so now William Jaffe, most remembered as Turnkey, the hero of Papillon. Get some booze. I think I want more food. I don't need more to drink and more food. Then we'll come back to Alan Jaffe as Turnkey in Papillon. Alright, we're back. It's 4 a.m. across Los Angeles time here. We're back with William Jaffe from such films as the leading role in as Turnkey. When we get some Riddler busts in on his gang, he's got a whole new outfit here, a spandex outfit. So we get truly some crazy outfit here with the Riddler, with a purple cummerbund, purple mask and gloves, more of like what I would call like a lavender. Though these cool colorings can be hard to tell in these old episodes of TV, but I wouldn't say that's really exactly purple. And he busts into his gang, and he is just, once again, at an energy that there's just never been anything like. I don't understand how they didn't give this man 12 Oscars and every role after this for playing the Riddler in this. He's so happy to commit crimes and gleeful. I really haven't seen anything like this. He makes me feel like I'm really not living my life now. That's for sure. To see how happy he is every second. Like, how many takes do you think they gave Frank Gorshin on this as the Riddler? And how energetic do you think he was in every fucking take? I hope they didn't do it many times. Okay, so Batman rolls up to a bar, Glover Avenue. The What a Way to Go-Go, 222 Glover Avenue. Odd, the new discotheque. So Batman's gonna check out this place. So at the Way to Go-Go, they won't let Robin in because he's too young. And Batman has to go in alone. The scary guy here is there's so many scary people in Gotham City. It really is a scary town. Carl Christie. No, this doorman is Richard Reeves, uncredited here. He was also on the Superman program. He was born in 1912. Damn, he died the year after this was made. Not great. Let's see, he died in Northridge, California. Wow, not long after this. But let's see how many credits he got in after Batman. He was in The Addams Family, The Wild Wild West, Daniel Boone, F Troop, Frankie and Johnny. What is Frankie and Johnny? This is an old song. Oh, this is an Elvis movie too, also with Harry Morgan. Harry Morgan, famous, as my father says, for just never aging in the movies. Like, he looked like the same for so many years. And then we had Billy the Kid versus Dracula, which I've seen. John Carradine calls Billy the Kid versus Dracula's worst movie. And I'm just gonna say, I think he's done worse. The last credit for Mr. what have you, Richard Reeves, not George Reeves. Man, there's so many confusing things with Superman now. We gotta throw Richard Reeves, Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, all in the same. Do we think this guy was maybe the brother? The full bio. He's no relation to George Reeves. Okay, that's one of the first things in his bio. Alright, well, It's suspected that it could be a plot to separate them, which does seem like the kind of thing the Riddler would do. So Robin gets to drive the Batmobile for a moment, and he goes and parks it. He puts on a little antenna, probably to listen to some tunes. Oh, let's see, we get some more awesome. Man, I just cannot stress enough how cool the Batmobile is. Like, you get its speedometer is so fucking awesome. And we have a bat eye switch. He has a screen in here. So it picks up TV. Or no, he now has surveillance. He can see what's going on. Oh, he can see what Batman sees. Jill St. John's at the bar. Oh, and a chick sees Batman and faints. She says gleeps. It's Batman gleeps. Women really throw themselves at this man in uniform, I'll tell you that. He's a local celeb. He doesn't want to attract attention in his outfits. Classic. And we see some 60s stuff happening here we get your wall art that just basically looks like horse shit. Crazy bar for oddballs. And now they're at the bar, and Jill St. John has a riddle for Batman. It says, why is a quarrel like a bargain? Why is a quarrel like a bargain? Why is a quarrel like a bargain? Well, let's see. I, as a quarrel, may have had too much booze. I made myself a good dinner here. Oh, the same thing, like, about a quarrel and a bargain as they take two. That's a terrible riddle. I like to think that maybe that Jill St. John thought of that one herself, or rather her character, Molly, not the Riddler, or Frank Gorshin, or Jill St. John. Trying to get a taste for carrots, just because some people left some carrots here, and I hate to see good food go to waste, because I love to eat, so I'm trying to eat these carrots. They're not my favorite. I got other stuff too. To make these carrots more palatable to me. I wouldn't normally mix them in. So Batman's gonna dance with Molly here. I don't know if you've ever been dancing with Molly yourself. It's a good dance. I would definitely recommend. So now he's dancing with her. Wait, my carrot eating, did I miss the Batusi? So he does the Batusi. Meanwhile, the Riddler pops up from beyond, under the ground outside the club. Batman's getting really into this. Uh-oh. Much like me with these carrots, Batman is distracted by drugs. His drink has been doped. Batman, he goes from suspecting everything to suspecting nothing. He's like a child. That's how he solves so many crimes. So the Riddler, the Batmobile has an alarm system that sets off a lot of fireworks, causes a big ruckus, and they try to waylay. The Riddler tries to steal the Batmobile after he knocks Robin out as well. Then he has a start button on the Batmobile, and the Riddler pushes it, but that was very foolish. It was a fake start button. It really set off the alarms, which are quite extensive, with many accurate things. You can see why the Batmobile, it's not stolen more often. It really has a car alarm that is an audio-visual pyrotechnic display. Yeah, if you left the Batmobile unattended to set off these kind of pyrotechnics, it doesn't seem that safe. Hopefully the criminal won't be too scared while fleeing the scene to call in the fire department. So the Riddler and his boys, though, even with all these alarms...
Out of my way, I said. I've got to go after Robin.
Hand me the key, Batman. I'm afraid you're in no condition to drive.
Yes, of course, officer. You're entirely correct.
Look, the bat signal from the roof of City Hall. The commission is trying to call Batman. In his shape, kind enough to tell him.
Where have they got Robin?
So Batman runs out of the club. He's so upset that they've taken Robin, as of course anyone would be. Here you have an orphan in your care. Biggest criminal in town, or at least that we know of yet. And certainly in this episode of Batman, he's so far the most criminal. He's stolen your son. Batman's drugged as fuck. And here we're going to get some wonderful, wonderful Adam West. I really hope they played this at Adam West's funeral. In addition to some Frank Gorshin, we might have to collect some audio of Adam West here. When he tries to drunk drive the Batmobile and the cops have him pulled over. Yeah, I gotta hand it to Wes. It's really a physical performance more than a vocal performance. It may not have been that hilarious to hear it in audio. He's really doing a lot with physical business. But man, the video is gold. You would think that he and not Frank Gorshin was the celebrated comic. And we've already, by his, he's got the monotone bass delivery with the wacky physical business. So the Riddler and his stooges, they've got Robin in a locker room. So I like to think is some kind of like funny fantasy of like, it's probably like a back room of some business where they have the lockers for employees, but you could imagine it as a child, like being scared of bullies' lockers at school, and the Riddler's got you here tied up. Ooh, it looks like this, you really can't help but see why this Jaffe character got cast as the lead in Papillon as Turnkey. And Frank Gorshin, he dials up the craziness. I wonder if, I've never seen the original Kiss of Death with Richard Widmark, But there's like, I could imagine Richard Widmark famously plays like a crazy guy that remade as Nicolas Cage in the 1990s film Kiss of Death. I wonder if Richard Widmark, master impressionist, rather Frank Gorshin, is actually doing an impression of Richard Widmark in Kiss of Death as his Riddler performance. Yeah, let's do this. Never just gone on YouTube. Once in a while on YouTube, I like to just watch Richard Widmark push this old lady down the staircase. Yeah, critic Wesley Morris, he always talks about how handsome Richard Widmark is. It really struck me as that handsome. He calls him beautiful. Alright, I'm going to determine that I do not think that he is doing a Richard Widmark impression here. However, I would also say that it was worth it just to watch Richard Widmark push that lady down the stairs. That was the end of the first one. Wow. Oh, Neil Hefti wrote the theme, not Herbie Hancock. Well, let that be a lesson. All right, now, I think we should just keep going. Been recording about an hour and a half here. We made it through one episode of Batman. One thing you'll notice with these Batman is sometimes they spend a lot more money on the first one than the second one. Well, I'll tell you what I found out. Dinner is good. Okay, so the first episode was Hi Diddle Diddle. This is smack in the middle, episode 2, season 1 of Batman. And we've got the, once again, William Dozier, who I don't feel like he's at top form yet as he's not really full-throated as the narrator of Batman to me. Remember that exploding cake? That rascal, the Riddler. There are always some odd line readings from this William Dozier guy. But he tricked them. Glee for the Riddler. Gloom for Batman. But then a fresh clue led Batman into a Batusi trap, which laid him low. Then Robin got it in the arm. Riddler had it made. The worst is yet to come. So we go into the credits here. All right, smack in the middle. Once again written by Lorenzo Simple Jr. and directed by Robert Butler. Comes the dawn. You see Wayne Manor. No bird singing in the depths of the Batcave. Batman frantically tries to get a hold of Robin. Batman wants to put Mrs. Cooper at ease, telling Alfred that he and Dick are spending the night at his uncle's house. So the Riddler, he romances and dishes out instructions to Jill St. John. They wake Robin with a hairspray. Just like that joke in Inherent Vice where he's like when Robin comes to, the Riddler's like, where's Batman? He's like, hanging by the phone, I hope. Okay, so he calls Inspector Gordon, Commissioner Gordon. And the commissioner sets up things to call into Batman. He also wants to record and trace the secret call to the Bat phone. So is the commissioner trying to find out who Batman is through nefarious means, or just who the Riddler is? What kind of pins are used in soup? Terra pins. Oh, it's Joan of Arc made of native Orleans. That's pretty good. I like that one. So they knock Robin out. There's also the Bat research shelf. Let's look at what we got here. We got the terrestrial scanner, the celestial scanner. So that would be land and sky, if not to heavens. Then we have the Bat research shelf. So he's going to go to the old turtle mill on Orleans Cove to hopefully retrieve Robin. And he rides out of the Batmobile, or the Batcave. So now we get Jill St. John's going to dress up as Robin. Gosh, it's a really good costume too. You wouldn't think Jill St. John would make a convincing Robin, but she really does. Riddler says it's uncanny, and it truly is. I don't know if her costume will be good enough to fool Batman, but I'd say she bears more than a striking resemblance to the actual Boy Wonder, Robin himself. Now, the Riddler's car is also cool. What kind of car is this? He's got the detectascope in the Batmobile to try to find where Robin is. So I guess the Robin has a something. A beacon. Oh, the Batmobile passes right by the detectascope. Then he needs that emergency turn lever. And the Batmobile does in fact do. Then he's got the parachute jetting button, because see, when the Batmobile does these turns, it has to jettison its parachute, which is, it needs to execute these turns. Even the Riddler is pro-safety. He wants Jill St. John to put on her crash helmet, and himself as well. His is, of course, painted nicely. The question mark, so we know, The Riddler takes pride in his shit. He's got a nice car. You got a lot of light sources here on this helmet. Yeah, how many lights do we think this helmet is reflecting? It's certainly not just the sun. Yeah, and her helmet as well. Like their helmets need a little de-shining here. I can see the studio lights in them. Oh no! The Riddler and Jill St. John got away from the car and they set it ablaze. Now the Riddler's gonna hide and leave Jill St. John dressed as Robin. Really is a good costume she's got. And you can see even like close up Batman is fooled by it. Or at least he seems to be here. He tells him to take it easy, old fella. See, Jill St. John, she cannot disguise her voice to be like Burt Ward's. And so Batman is going to have to fix up the vocal cords and body of the injured Burt Ward. He carries him and deposits him into the Batmobile. They have a universal drug anecdote. Because they go back to the Batmobile cave, and Batman was very aware the whole time that it was Molly. Batman saw through her disguise. So they gave straws through the nose of the Robin mask she was wearing, and Batman saw through it instantly when he picked Robin up, which was the one hole in their plan. And straws only have one hole, but a person has two nostrils. She says there are going to be a lot more than two holes in Batman when she blows him away with her gun. But the Batman burned off the revolver's firing pin, didn't unload the gun. He used a bat laser beam to burn off the firing pin of the pistol. Now Jill St. John's, to get away from Batman, she climbs up to the nuclear power source of the Batcave. She totters. Wow, it's a scary inferno down there. She asks for help. Batman tells her not to move. Then he uses the batarang and some rope to climb up and help her. I'd want to help Jill St. John too. Danger, keep away. Keep off atomic pile. Batman's really got some dangerous stuff down here. A super high voltage atomic pile. So Jill St. John, she slips away. Batman cannot save her. She flies into the, and she dies. I think that's how Jill St. John died. As Molly. They haven't been able to trace, so they're back at the police headquarters of Gotham City. They haven't been able to trace yet, but there are all these rumblings in the recording, and Batman recognizes them as subways, which I remember is also done in the movie Sneakers with Robert Redford, where he was a sneaker, but not an Asics or a Reebok kind, though he probably wore some. So we got the USA and Canada crime computers, but it's really just one computer, so they said they only label it as such. And back in the background we see there's an international. Oh wait, we missed the label. Mobile crime computer he has in the car. And this would be like the DARPANET. He's got a bat gauge here trying to find out where in fact Robin is being hidden. He's traced the call somewhere. Of course, we know they're in the locker room. He's got a laser gun. He's gonna blow, he set an explosive here at the wall of the Riddler's hideout. I see. Burt Ward, he gets sassy with the Riddler. Tells him that crime never pays. Then Batman bursts in and calls the Riddler a rat, tells him to surrender, and wraps him up with the batarang and some lassoing. Oh shit. Now the Riddler has entombed Robin and Batman behind bulletproof glass and drawn a question mark on that bulletproof glass to further add insult to injury. How many sides is a circle? 2 sides, inside and outside. What president of the United States wore the biggest hat? The one with the biggest head. Bam! I nailed that one. And that has to mean the skyscraper head office of the Gotham City Bank. Very much as the circle has 2 sides, inside and outside, he will now be taking the loot from inside the bank and carting it outside the bank. That's a good riddle. Ooh. He says it took him a long way for the friendship cake, where they almost shook hands, and now he and Robin shake hands because they're old chums. It's like a handshake-us interrupt-us. Now we got some cool night. Los Angeles freeways at night with old-timey police cars. Pretty cool. Uh-oh. They're all the way back at the Moldavian Pavilion, where we started the story. The Riddler has a pretty damn cool suit here. It's like a plaid Riddler-themed dinner suit with a bowler hat. Now we have the Moldavian mammoth, the woolly mammoth. It's stuffed and covered in jewels. Kind of reminds me of this lady. And this guy. The Riddler's got some laughing gas and some fans. And you get a better look at his smart suit. Suit really isn't as cool as all that. It's really just Frank Gorshin's panache. Makes it so cool. He has elan. Let's look up what the word elan means. Oh yeah, and he has a woolly mammoth, like a mammoth mask. That's pretty fucking scary. Let's investigate what the word elan means. Elan is energy, style, and enthusiasm. That would be exactly how we would define Frank Gorshin. He has more energy and enthusiasm than anything I've ever seen in my life. And this lady identifies him as a vulgar low comedian. That's so far off the mark. Alright, so now he starts doing his nightclub act. Riddler's telling jokes, almost like a joker. So he made everybody pass out with this laughing gas, which I guess was also sleeping gas. This is pretty cool. Major set piece here at the back at the Moldavian exchange. So they're gonna steal the mammoth. But, oh fuck. Guess who got taxidermied to the Batman and Robin in some wild scuba gear here to filter their air with oxygen. It feeds them oxygen. This is some truly cool stuff. The biggest head was not the president. It was the biggest head of the mammoth, and not the bank. It was the jewels on the outside of the head. And there were postage stamps inside that they also wanted to steal. I didn't realize there were postage stamps all inside this mammoth. Strange. What a clever scheme. So it wasn't a real mammoth. There were no bones or anything. It was just some kind of paper mache mammoth filled with, or was it both? Now we got our first fight with all the biffs and bings. Zwap. Let's go back and look at all the different things we have. We got zap. Get them boys. Crunch. Zonk. Clonk. Bam. Kapow. Ouch. Wham. Zap. Kapow. Irk. Zock. Biff. Zwap. I wonder if they ever went to the jazz band and were like, what are your onomatopoeias for this? What is this for these stings? They fed back to each other, one to the other. Like they were like, hey, give us a bam sound. They're like, what do you call that sound? And so that way the writers of Batman and the musicians of Batman were like their own jazz combo. Out of sight. Now we're back at Wayne Manor. Case dismissed. So I guess the Riddler lost so the Riddler didn't show up in court. So he thinks he maybe killed the Riddler, or at least Robin does. But Adam West says they never found a body. And so the Riddler may have escaped underground. Well, I mean, if you didn't find a body after you thought a guy was dead of laughing gas, I don't really know what you'd expect there. He has to be gone. I like Adam West here, because for words like, so does that mean we failed? Does that mean we failed? And he's like, no. But he clearly does think he failed. He's good acting here. He has to make Birdward feel good in the end, even though he knows they failed. Oh yeah, then he remembers Jill St. John. So Mrs. Cooper's here, and she is not a fan of Dick Grayson being exposed to people like Jill St. John. The very thought of Dick being exposed to a criminal element, and Bruce Wayne puts her heart at ease, saying it's just a ship he passed in the night. It's now long terribly dead. And he helps Burt Ward with his algebra. The end, a Greenway production. All right, what a great episode. Sam Levitt, James Blakely, Sam Stanges, Chalupka. I'd like to eat one of those. Where's the tease for next week's episode? At the end of this, no tease on next week's villain. Wow, would that be a lesson? They did not warn us at the end of this one who would be around next time. They usually like to tell us that it will be a villain. I'll tell you, it's the Penguin. All right, that brings us to the close of our first episodes. Have a good night.
In the previous Bat Adventure, we saw a Prime Minister's exploding cake with a puzzling message from that rascal, the Riddler. The dynamic duo pinned the Riddler's ears back, but he tricked them with $1 million lawsuit against Batman. Glee for the Riddler. Gloom for Batman. But then, a fresh clue, which led Batman into a Batusi trap, which laid him low. And then Robin got it, in the arm. The Riddler had it made. Gotham City was aghast. Robin seemed utterly doomed. But wait, the worst is yet to come.